What is good? We're back with another redraft FFD fantasy. I'm Casey. That's my guy, Chev. What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, you know me, brother. Any day on this side of the dirt's a good one.
That's right. And today on this side of the dirt, we've got running back sleepers for your pleasure. Destined to break out, of course, because why wouldn't they be? So we're going to talk through about 6-7 sleepers. We're going to take you from, a little bit of a higher end kind of esque one to all the way down on like your last pick, right? So what I'm looking for here in a sleeper is a talented player and a good offense, right? Now you can certainly get good fantasy production in a dumpster fire offense. Don't get me wrong. Volume is king for the most part. But what I look for and what I want is offenses that can produce points or offenses that I think are going to take a nice leap forward, or a quantum leap, if you will. So whilst kind of looking around the league, I came away with a couple options of both of those things. Now, obviously, a lot of these players are going to be backups or in some sort of timeshare, which is why most of these guys are in the 10th round or later. But we're searching for Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, ring any bells, right? So those are the kind of guys who weren't the lead dog and for whatever reason came out and helped you win a fantasy championship last year. So that's what we're going to be kind of going with. Now, off the rip, we're going to start off with a few higher end options, and then we're going to go, like I said, all the way down to the late round sleepers. So our first sleeper, I'm sure for the D-Gens out there, isn't much of a sleeper, but when we're talking season long or redraft, if you will, we have to consider the more casual person here, as they're probably just starting to get familiar with these players. So the first one that we're going to hit is RJ Harvey coming into ADP 503 for FFD ADP. So Chev, how are you feeling? Is this fit your mold for a sleeper? Again, it's a little early, but we wanted to get, this is a name that you probably should know. And we feel real comfortable drafting right now.
Yeah. So with RJ Harvey, I feel great because of the fact that he was handpicked by Sean Payton. And that's typically worked out pretty well in the past. We're talking about Reggie Bush. We're talking about Alvin Kamara. We're talking about Darren Sproles. So whenever you have
Pierre
this role,
Thomas, Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was handpicked by those guys. I don't quite remember, but a lot of good backs coming through that system.
Lots of good backs. So you named off a bunch of guys that were relevant because why? Because they were PPR goons.
Mm-hmm.
The Sean Payton back has always been a pass catching buffoon. And that is, for me, that's where the value comes in. We're talking about last year, the targets, you had 66 targets for Javonte Williams. That was an 11.6% target share.
Mm-hmm.
Like the year before, he got Pirine had 54 targets, 11.6% target share. Javonte Williams had 56 targets. So, and then you're talking about Alvin Kamara, who might get into Canton based on the way that he was used with Sean Payton as a pass catching back. I read somewhere the other day or on Twitter X that he's 238 yards away from becoming the 5th player in NFL history to have 5,000 yards rushing and receiving. So that's how valuable this role has been traditionally. So if you don't know much about RJ Harvey, he came out of UCF. He's a little bit older. He dominated college football last year. People will say because he's an old man and a grown man playing against kids, but no, it's just because he's awesome at football. So He was second in breakaway runs in the entire NCAA.
He also hadn't played running back. So this is why he was a little older. He came in as a quarterback, right? So just to catch people up there, that's why he might have stayed in college and been a little bit older. So he may have been older, and you can detract that from his value, quote unquote, coming in. But it's not like he was a running back the whole time. He was a quarterback. So sorry to interrupt, but I like where we're heading.
Yeah, no, that's the beautiful part is without context, it just, he's old. He shouldn't, he took forever to break out. Well, for one, he started at the University of Virginia as a quarterback, then transferred to UCF, suffered an injury. And then when he actually got to play football as a running back, he was good. So That's more of a dynasty story that you got to concern yourself with. For redraft, what we're talking about right now today on Al Gore's internet, we're talking about RJ Harvey being with Sean Payton and this being an incredible value at pick 503 in the ADP right now. So I'm all in. I mean, like I said, he was second to Ashton Genty in breakaway runs in 2024. He clocked a 4.40. He has the pass catching chops. And you saw that, you've seen that at the Senior Bowl. But this, again, if he didn't, Sean Payton wouldn't have selected him with the 64th overall pick. So we're talking about a guy who has this opportunity, and he's just one J.K. Dobbins unfortunate event away from having a workhorse role. But there's even more to go into, but I'll let you jump back in.
Well, I mean, yes, they signed J.K. Dobbins, and you could say, man, what a bummer. But Sean Payton's always had two guys in there that operate, and there's room for both. And Harvey is for sure going to be more the PPR guy for me as far as what the floor is going to be. You had mentioned it and then you had mentioned it at one point, the target share of 11.6% for Javonte Williams the last 2 years through Sean Payton's offense here, and in 2024 we had 91 total targets between two running backs, and in 2023 we had 141 targets between three running backs. Right, so that's what we're talking about. There's a built-in floor for receptions here, and Javonte Williams was coming back off an injury, and it wasn't quite himself. And the Broncos hadn't even really taken this huge step forward. Now, obviously, last year they did, and Javonte got a lot of targets, and it helped prop him up. But Javonte Williams I was looking for the number here in 2000. Javonte Williams in 2024. With that 11.6% target share, just to put that into what that is, that's seventh most among RBs, right? So that's more than Gibbs, right? So that's what we're talking about as a built-in kind of safety net here. And then you mentioned it, breakaway runs tied with second to Genty, which we know he's good. Sixth in missed tackles forced in 2024 in college, right? So shifty, good with the yak, seventh in yak, 2024 for Harvey, right? So lots of good things. And while, maybe he won't come in and just be like a workhorse, like maybe a Saquon Barkley last year. There's not that many of them in the league, but the floor is going to help you out with the PPR stuff. And then I think he's going to be the better running back anyway. And this offense may be taking another step forward. So this is to me, just a very safe floor with a whole lot of upside, which is why we wanted to hit him right off the rip here for the first player in kind of our sleepers episode here. Now we're going to get deeper and deeper as we go along.
Yeah. It's more and more of a hand in glove fit. Now, Denver's offensive line, we got the quality stats, like composite offensive line rankings going into 2025. They rank sixth, and we're talking about them having 3 top 75 offensive linemen, Quinn Miners being the number 1 rated offensive line, right guard in all of the NFL. Mm-hmm. So that creates another advantage. This was a team that wanted to run the ball, and they couldn't. They wanted to throw the ball to the running back to create easy, explosive plays, and they couldn't. So they're gonna be able to do things with RJ Harvey that just screams their fantasy goodness. Right. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this because he's available. There's always guys that we've been talking about till we're blue in the face, but we wanted to give guys that are just now tapping in an opportunity to get familiar with a guy that you might not be on your radar just yet. When this drops, they still won't have played any preseason, so you wouldn't have had a chance to really see it with your own eyes unless you're following training camp reports, which he's killing it, by the way. So, RJ Harvey, one of my favorite guys in the process, gets a dream landing spot, and now we need to capitalize.
Hey, real quick, if you're not in the free Discord channel, what are you doing? Come mock it up, because the F ain't for fuck it up.
Going along with the theme of like, hey, we either want a good offense that scores points or something that's going to take a step forward. The Broncos may touch both of those things that we're really looking for here in this kind of segment. So, all right, let's keep it moving. Let's go over to, we're going to go DeAndre Swift. He's coming in at 6'12". Now, if you've just joined the channel, which is very new, we've done 2 episodes. Swift has made an appearance 2 out of the 3 episodes here. But we think he could help you win, and we think he's a little bit of a sleeper here. So I think this is starting to get into a little bit more sleeper territory, and then the rest of the guys are 10th round or later. So DeAndre Swift comes in, and this would be more of the up and coming step forward kind of situation, right? They've revamped the offensive line. They've brought in some good offensive linemen. I'll let you touch on who that is and kind of where they rank. And then we brought in Ben Johnson, right, on taking the offense to a whole nother level and actually, spending time with the quarterback, because we know the Chicago Bears Caleb was watching film by himself last year. Regardless of what you think of Caleb, everything around him should be a much better ecosystem. And he almost brought the Bears single season passing record as a rookie, with basically him sitting alone in a dark room watching film by himself as a rookie. So
it's so ridiculous.
So yeah, I think this is a good offense to take a step forward as far as what they've done with the positioning themselves with offensive linemen, as well as Ben Johnson coming in and bringing his offense in here. And we know that's been heavily predicated on offensive line and a run game being the base for what they do. So Swift seems like, hey, not a whole lot of stiff competition right now, that he didn't go out and draft like we really thought they might with that, second round draft pick or third round draft pick. They took a 7th round guy, Monangai, which we're interested in because he's cheap. But Swift right now holds the keys to the castle and is going to get first crack, and has been a pretty good player throughout his career, right? He's had stints throughout. So hit us up with a little Swift knowledge and we'll keep it moving.
So Swift, they took massive strides on the offensive line. They've got 4 of the top 75 rated offensive linemen by Brandon Thorne, his offensive line rankings. In Darnell Wright, they brought in Drew Dahlman and Joe Tooney and Jonah Jackson. And so they signed Drew Dahlman in free agency. And this is screaming efficiency increase and breakout to me. Post type breakout. Nobody really wanted to be in on Swift because, now we thought he was going to get replaced. He didn't get replaced. And now there's no one there. There's literally no one there that we have to be fearful of. I mean, and you've seen it be really good, although it was an incredibly small sample size. But if they could just be competent, we're talking about him creating 500. They were 18th in yards before contact. He tied with Josh Jacobs in yards before contact. They're bottom of the barrel as far as an offensive line goes last year, and they bring those guys in now. So DeAndre Swift's available in a range where you should not be able to get the type of production that he's going to have. 295 opportunities is pretty much what it's exactly what he walked into last year. And now there's no one there to threaten that workload. Now, he did only get 41% of the carries inside the 5-yard line. He was 21st in the league in that. But that's fine. If he just takes a step forward from an efficiency standpoint, you're able to get DeAndre Swift in the 6th round, and he could very, very easily 7th round. Well, I got him at the 6-12.
Yeah. So we're dancing.
So right at the 7th round.
Right.
But you're able to get him there, and that's 300 touches in an offense that we think is going to take a step forward. What's there not to like here?
Right. And a system and a coach and we don't know if Ben Johnson's going to be a good head coach, but we're pretty confident that he can coach up an offense. And again, he went right after attacked a need in that offensive line and hopefully solidified it with picking up 2 or 3 really good studs there. And they had Darnell Wright already on that line. Right. So they should have a solid and improving line. Everything should take a step forward, and that's what we want. And then DeAndre Swift comes in, should get the lion's share and be that 1A and have plenty of opportunities to. What Ben Johnson is going to do is design play. He's better in space, right? So that's what we want DeAndre Swift to do. We're going to trust that a good coach and a good staff puts the players that they have at their disposal in the best scenarios to succeed. And that's why I'm in on Swift this year. And because the competition behind him is, look, I don't mind Roschon. I don't mind Kyle Monangai, and I'll take a flyer on both of them and not be too upset about it. But Swift right now has so much opportunity in front of him that this is one of my favorite selections coming into that, late 6th, early 7th round when you're needing another back to add to your rotation there. So
yeah, love sir. It's wild that this is fast becoming a pro DeAndre Swift propaganda podcast. I was not prepared for that.
it started off like, what do we do with them? We don't know. And now they've really kind of upped everything. And it's looking like the opportunity should be there for the taking. So all you have to do is connect some dots to see that you could potentially be getting a really good outcome by drafting DeAndre Swift. And that's what we're trying to do here. So, all right, keeping it moving. Next player on the list here, Jordan Mason, coming in at 10:03, right? So now we're into the really, middling sleepers for sure, more of a timeshare backup role kind of players that you're going to be selecting kind of at this spot. But what we're doing again, Vikings, super sought after offense in fantasy, right? But the one thing we're not sure about right now is the quarterback position. So they went out and traded for Jordan Mason, essentially. And they added to Aaron Jones, who's a little bit older and has had some soft tissue things here and there, right? But was very good last year in this offense. But what I look at this as is either way this goes and unfolds, I feel like it's probably really good for Jordan Mason. One, they have a rookie. They're trying to protect him, at least early on in the season. They lean on the run game. Jordan Mason offers something completely different from Aaron Jones. He kind of is out there with his hair on fire, reckless abandon, gives him something that Jones doesn't have. Also very explosive as well. But if that doesn't play out and J.J. McCarthy's awesome and they're just letting it rip, then, we get the best of both worlds, right? Because now this is an even better offense and it's really operating at a really high level. They have playmakers everywhere. And Jordan Mason should be getting, this should be a 30-point a game offense. And then of course, we're excited about that, right? So either way this works out, I don't see a bad really situation for not taking a chance on what Jordan Mason could provide you in those later rounds.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like you've got to do some really funny math. There's got to be some serious cognitive dissonance going on to be in on everything that's going on in the Vikings offense and then out on a running back that the team paid and like traded for and paid to have a role in the offense. You don't have to be anti Aaron Jones, who's going to the 6'10 in our ADP, and to be pro Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason, he represents something that's completely different than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones,
right?
Space satellite back, but handled 297 carries last year. And so he's older. You want to take some of the load off. They go out and they gave him the extension, but then they also traded for Jordan Mason and gave him an extension. And he represents something completely different. He had only he and James Conner ranked in the top 10 in missed tackles forced and explosive run rate in the entire NFL amongst running backs with 100 carries. And so this offensive line, they've got 4 offensive linemen inside the top 75, and they're looking to, as you alluded to, protect J.J. McCarthy. And so they're trying to bolster this run game. It was 4.06 yards a carry in 2024. Aaron Jones handles 65% of the touches inside the 5-yard and the carries inside the 5-yard line in 2024. So I would assume immediately that that's going to be something that Jordan Mason is good at because they're just two totally different backs. He's 225 pounds and he's nimble. He's great. I mean, he's great in the reds, like great after contact, as I just alluded to. Sorry, I was getting my words twisted up. So I think this is a smash for me. I'm trying to get him here and in Dynasty, because if the Vikings offense is going to be good right now, I looked at the thing with Hayden Winks' projected points for 2025, and they're projected to score about 22 points a game. And that's, just behind, I want to say, where are they at? No, 21 points a game. So it's kind of middle of the pack. But if we're in on all those offensive weapons, there's no reason to not take a shot on Jordan Mason where he's going right now.
Yeah, no, this run game, I think, is going to be the key to their success this season and getting it going, and having these two different options to kind of do things, I think is a really good formula to start the season and to go through this season with basically a rookie quarterback, because we didn't, JJ obviously got hurt last year. You had 255 carries for Aaron Jones last year, over 300 touches. So we can kind of lower that threshold a little bit, maybe keep him a little fresher. And then if something does happen to him, forbid, Jordan Mason should be able to come right in, take over, and not lose anything. But I think you're going to see a nice little split between those two. And like you said, you get two different stylistically players, and you can use them in a bunch of different ways to kind of, Mason's going to give you that, kind of establish it,
Mhm.
battering ram, hair on
Mhm.
fire kind of play and then Aaron Jones is going to come in and completely switch it up for you. But both guys are really good and had nice explosive plays throughout their career last year. Did you have an explosive play stat somewhere?
So their explosive run rate was 3.9% last year. Jordan Mason's explosive run rate was 7.8%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just another way that he's going to help improve this rushing offense. Like I said, we love what Aaron Jones does and what he represents. In like I said, it was 297 touches basically, or over 300 touches for Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And he only forced 9 more missed tackles than Jordan Mason, who touched the ball 122 less times.
Right. That's some good efficiency. Obviously, the Niners have a great run game and great scheme, but I think KOC, kind of coming from both Shanahan and McVay, also has a good run scheme, also good on the play action. So it's paramount. Obviously, you don't have to have a good run game to have a good play action, but it really helps.
Yes.
So, you like you mentioned, you brought in Ryan Kelly, you brought in Will Fries, both coming from Indianapolis, both really good players. You have Darrisaw, you got Brian O'Neill. So this should be a solid offensive line regardless, and they should be able to scheme up good runs. You got Justin Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison, and you have TJ Hockenson. I mean, golly, what a stacked squad over there. Should be easy sledding for that run game. So Jordan Mason coming in at 10:03.
Yeah, I can't get enough. And honestly, the style difference between Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason is Aaron Jones is like Andre 3000 on like the Love Below, and then and then Jordan Mason. This is, I guess, only you and I would probably get this. Like people our age would get this reference. And then he's like, Jordan Mason's like him on Speaker Box, or no, not Speaker Box, but Atlians for all the Outcast fans out there.
Look at you throwing in some pop culture references.
I'm pretty sure we're old and nobody knows who Outcast.
Yeah, most likely. But I mean, Outcast is awesome, so you should educate yourself.
Do better
all right.
if you don't.
Yeah. Next on the list, we got Trey Benson coming in at 11:06. Right. I know what you're thinking with Cardinals. You said you wanted a good offense or something to take a step forward. Well, last year, whatever you think about the Cardinals, their run game was awesome. Per StatMuse, the Cards were 11th in rush attempts. They were 7th in rush yards. They were 2nd in yards per carry, tied with the Bucs. They were 7th in rush yards per game and 8th in rush TDs with 18. So there's a good rushing floor here. And, James Conner was a big part of that. And they had just drafted Trey Benson, right? And there was some discourse of Trey Benson early in that season because they were playing the Rams up like 30, and he had like 0.9 per carry, and it was like, see, he stinks. But if you go from week 3 on, Benson only gets 49 attempts, but 268 yards on those attempts, 5.47 a carry, right? So This is what we want. We want opportunity, and I don't know if James Conner is going to be healthy or not, but I think off the jump, I think Benson gets more opportunities per game to knife into a little bit of what James Conner does. And then if anything should happen, like the Zach Moss of last year, where they were, I don't think it'll be that heavy of a split, but you had an injury happen and then Chase Brown really emerged to help you out. I think Benson could be that kind of player, right? We have Drew Petzing over there, obviously putting a big emphasis on a strong run game. It's this will be his 3rd year of play calling. Is that correct?
Yep.
Over
so
there.
He started out. This is number 3. Now this will be the first without Clayton Adams, who moved over to Dallas, who we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode. But yeah,
Arizona is going to use those bigger packages. They were 9th and 12th personnel. They were 2nd and 13 personnel. So those are bigger packages where you're building different run schemes out of. And some of the better running teams in the league, run out of that, kind of those bigger formations where you can tie a lot of different things together. You could certainly run out of 11. Rams and Falcons have had great success, the McVay tree. out of there, but just more painting the picture of what they want to do and how they want to do it. They want to bring physicality. They want to punch you in the face. And James Conner has been a big part of that. He's been excellent. So I think you can plug Trey Benson in there if there was an injury, and really, really capitalize on an 11th round pick right here in Trey Benson.
If you're looking for more FFD, sign up for a Patreon or YouTube membership and get access to the ADP, Dynasty rankings, the rookie draft kit, and extra shows every week.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, there's just nothing that I've seen personally that would convince me that he's not just going to be a really good NFL player. He's been great. He's been really good when he's given the opportunity. He had a 5% explosive run rate on 63 carries. That would be right around the same as a guy like Tank Bigsby or James Cook in 2024. And then, he'd be right around where Chase Brown was in terms of missed tackles forced, his 0.16 per attempt. That would be right around Chase Brown. So he's in some decent company when it comes to those nerdy advanced stats that you guys don't really care about, but I spend way too much time on this to
they love him.
Spit not mention that. So I just, if something happens to James Conner, or if the workload, he's undeniable. You just can't keep him off the field. Not saying that he's going to Bucky Irving, but you know that he's earning more touches every time he touches the ball because something positive happens.
Right.
He could give you something like Tank Bigsby gave you last year. That could be this run game lends itself to that because they are so run focused and run heavy. Yeah. Like we're worried about Marv because this is such a run heavy offensive scheme. Right. So I just, I'm really excited about Trey Benson. I've been vocal about him on the Dynasty side. And I think in redraft, he has a place as a late round pick. And especially if I roster James Conner, I have to get Trey Benson.
Playing the handcuff. Okay. I like it. Yeah. No, I mean, I think Benson's going to get some more run just in general. And I'm not going to say, James Conner's going to get hurt. It's like, I don't know if he is or isn't. And that's kind of what the game we're playing here through these back half of the rounds. But I want to invest in talent and I want to invest in situation. This is a good run scheme, a good run game. They got a good offensive line, an improving offensive line. And, it's Kyler can take another step forward. Marv can take another step forward. This whole offense can evolve. They could score more points, right? So this offense just aside from the run game also could improve. And then the run game, would drastically also improve from how many points could be scored. But, James Conner was awesome last year, but he's old. He's older, right? And has had some points periods where he gets banged up, right? So
career high in touches and yards from scrimmage last year for James Conner going into his age 30 season. Not saying that's that's a death knell. Not saying that you avoid him. I actually like James Conner quite a bit. I just, I was just talking about that, but I feel like this is another guy that people are completely ignoring who could have a little standalone value. I love him in best ball, but also if you have James Conner who's going at the 509, you want Trey Benson as well. So, or just choose your own adventure,
right.
Whatever.
Of course. All right. Couple picks later, we got Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby coming into the frame here. And so, here I'm looking at I like drafting Travis Etienne and I like drafting Tank Bigsby. I like to get both of them. And then, I don't mind situations where I can draft 2/3 of a pretty, cheap backfield that I think, could really emerge here. And this fits into there. And as well as the formula that we've laid out to start this show, Jacksonville should be up and coming offense, taking a step forward, right? We got a big regime change into Liam Cohen. We like what the offense could possibly do here. The quarterback situation isn't terrible. The alpha wide receiver is awesome. The big thing here again, which a lot of this always boils down to, is offensive line and can they get it right? Because they weren't awesome last year. But what happens is Liam Cohen brings over Robert Hainsey from Tampa, which is their center, which is huge for Trevor Lawrence and the rest of this offensive line. You got your field general out there, and it kind of can give you an overview of what Cohen wants to see from his offensive line and what they're expected to do. And then they bring over Patrick McCarry from Baltimore to play to come plug right in on that line. And then they had their right tackle Anton Harrison, who they drafted, I believe, in 2003 or 2023. He played really well throughout the back half of the season, played all through 17 games, and then allowing 0 sacks through the final 9 games for him. So nice step up there. And then Walker Little, a lot of improvement. Their left tackle there through the back half of the season as well, got himself a contract extension. So they've got a lot of parts and pieces. They brought in some other linemen for some depth. So, we'll see if Ezra Cleveland holds on to that other job, but this line should take a step forward. Cohen's should and has had success with coaching up a line and giving a good run scheme. And that's what we want here. Bigsby's cheap. You can get ETN too. And these guys are out of the top 100-ish players here. So it doesn't matter if either one of them gets you or doesn't get you. I think both of them can have a role. Liam Cohen with White last year and Bucky Irving, both of them were, I know Bucky got the shine at the end, but they were both getting a lot of time, and Rachaad White was still plenty playable in a lot of those, games, right? So I think this offense here has a lot of room for the 2 running backs to come in, and Tootin can be your guy too. If you'd rather have Tootin than Bigsby, or if you'd rather have Bigsby and Tootin and not ETN, you can do that as well. I'm trying to get 2 of these guys and just see what kind of happens. And ET and Bigsby might be kind of startable here. That's what I'm looking to do, right? And we've talked about it a few times on the Dynasty side of things, of like how Liam Cohen doesn't just do one style of kind of run plays. He'll switch up from a zone to a gap or however you want to play that. And both guys, he's what he does a good job of, like we've pointed to on some of these other guys, is putting the right back in the right situation, right? And so we've seen ETN, hey, let's get him in space and let's hammer it with Bigsby a little bit more. And so you have 2 different pieces that can do 2 different things for you. And if you put them in the right spots, both of them can succeed and be at I think they're going to be at a timeshare where some games at 60-40, one guy, some days at 60-40, other games it's going to be 50, pretty close to 50-50. So I like both of these guys, and Tank Bigsby's just cheaper than ETN, so he made the list here. And ETN's pretty trendy right now. So hit me with what you got.
So we're talking about Liam Cohen calling the most beneficial play per the running back that is getting the touch. And so Tank Bigsby averaged 4.42 yards per carry in zone schemes and 4.13 yards a carry in gap schemes. So he's already scheme flexible. The only thing we hadn't seen him do is catch passes. Not saying that he can't, just saying that we hadn't seen it yet.
Right.
Also, he led the entire NFL in yards after contact per attempt last year. At 3.30 yards after contact per attempt. So he's a battering ram, and he could be a tone setter, as we alluded to before. And I think that this was an oversight on my part, because I was just pro ETN, and now just with a little bit of camp buzz, obviously we don't know anything yet, but the thing that we wanted for ETN that made us hopeful for ETN just doesn't appear that it's going to happen. Tank Bigsby is not going. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. And so if he's going to have a real role in 2025, he is extremely undervalued in an offense that, again, we like. The offensive line is solid. Liam Cohen definitely improved the Tampa offensive line. Of course, they hit on Graham Barton, the center, but they were not thought of as an elite offensive line going into 2024. And now in 2025, everybody say, oh, that's a top 5 offensive line. And I think that there was some Liam Cohen magic there. He brings over Robert Hainsey. You hit on that already. So yes, Tank Bigsby for me, going right here at the 1104. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that, just because he's insurance. You can let's go get these 2 guys, and then you can probably pick the rookie up, Basil Tootin, who's dealing with a hamstring right now. You can get him a little bit later. So yeah, Tank Bigsby for me, I'm a little bit more bullish than I was at any other point in the offseason, just because we got real information of him having a real role.
Yeah. No, I like it. In the 11th round, man, it's a good stab on what we've seen Cohen have real good success putting together a really, really solid run scheme. So I like Jacksonville to take a step. So, again, plugging right into kind of how we're viewing what we're talking about with these sleeper running backs right now. All right. Last but not least, we're going to go Ray Davis here. He's coming in at the 1201. James Cook with the holdout stuff. Look, he's there. He's playing. I think he's going to play. I think he's probably going to end up getting a contract or whatever. But Ray Davis was extremely good as a rookie last year, right? Went back and watched all the snaps for some Dynasty stuff. And he had 113 attempts, which is nothing to sneeze at. 442 yards, 3.91 per carry, which isn't awesome. But there were some games where it dipped down a little bit. But he when you watch him play, it was absolutely awesome. 17 for 17 in receptions, 3.3 target share, and 3 more TDs there. But when you saw Ray get his opportunities in week 6 against the Jets, when we saw the one time that Cook wasn't really in the lineup and he was featured, 20 attempts, 97 yards, caught 3 for 3, 54 yards. Week 13 against San Fran, he got 11 carries, 63 yards, a touchdown, and then finished in week 18 with 15 attempts, 64 yards, and a receiving TD. Point is, if something happens to Cook, that Ray Davis is going to step right in and give you borderline, RB1 production, if almost guaranteed RB2 production. So going so late in this, and again, this just fits in. Great offensive line. Obviously, Josh Allen and an offense that's going to score. You have to take a little bit of, pain in some Josh Allen TDs. But I mean, Jesus, we saw Cook score 1 million touchdowns last year, right? So, we can pump the brakes on that just a little bit. But Ray Davis coming into the 1201, like, obviously all of these things are probably going to take an injury for something to happen for a lot of these to really, propel up to the level that we're talking about. But Ray Davis is a prime candidate right here for a league winner if forbid something happened to James Cook. So what's your thoughts on Ray Davis, Chev?
Man, I absolutely love it. We did the second year running back episode on the Dynasty channel, and we both liked Ray Davis a lot. That split, the rushing split, is something that we're not talking about enough. Buffalo is one of the run heaviest teams in the entire NFL, and the split in his rookie year was 113 carries for him, 207 carries for James Cook. So who's to say it doesn't skew a little bit more in the favor of Ray Davis, who led the league in running. Now, I had to silo this on fantasy points data real good. So running backs between 100 to 130 touches, very specific, I know. Ray Davis had 113 carries. We went 113 carries, 100 carries to 130 carries. He led the league in that category. Missed tackles forced per attempt with 0.24. That's a great mark. That mark, actually, we talked about it earlier in the episode. Jordan Mason was at 0.22 missed tackles forced per attempt. So Ray Davis has shown us everything that makes you want to believe that he's a great football player. He just needs the opportunity, and he might be able to carve out. This is going to be, again, one of the most run-heavy offenses under Joe Brady in the entire NFL. So a great offense that's a run-heavy, run-focused offense, and we profit with Ray Davis.
Right. I like it. All right, let's run through a couple late round last pick, or maybe even the first pickup off your waiver wire or whatever. I'll let you lead this one off because we've both been excited about these guys, but who are some of those late round button clicks for you there, Chev, or first round of waivers?
Do you want me to just rage bait all the draft capital snobs?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Do whatever you want to do here.
Yeah, I've got 2 7th-round rookies.
Love it.
Ooh, oh my.
Studs.
So one is Jacory Merritt. You see, y'all thought I was going to go Brashard Smith first. Now, anyway, Jacory Merritt, we've talked about it on the Dynasty channel. We're talking about a guy who has very clearly has juice, has impressed everyone in that building during the spring. And now with the pads coming on, he's shining even more with his explosive ability to create opportunities to get in the open field. He has an ability that Austin Eckler had back in the day. Brian Robinson Jr. just does not have. And I think he adds a dynamic to that run game that is going to be extremely valuable. And it's starting to play itself out in camp right now. The other guy is Brashard Smith. I love Brashard Smith. I love Brashard Smith. I'm sorry. I got too excited. Go ahead, Casey.
No, I just want to say Jacory Merritt, and he gets compliments on the hyphen. If you know, you know. Old Uncle Buck drop there. Underrated movie. All right, yeah, Brashard, man. I mean, you back in February, we're talking about him as maybe being the Jet McKinnon possibilities here, and hey, we landed. The Jet has landed. He's over as a 7th round pick. It didn't go like we wanted it to, so we adjust, but we're still picking him up, right? And we love it. We love the possibility. Converted wide receiver from the U to SMU, goes out there, puts together an awesome season, and then of course the Chiefs get a hold of him. Sorry for everybody else's feelings, but they got another one who's just a mismatch, right? And you know, I don't know how it'll start off, or if we need some injuries for him to really get cooking. We're gonna see some fucking awesome plays out of Brashard Smith. I don't know how startable he'll be right away, but he's somebody that if I got a spot open, he's one guy that I'm just gonna keep picking up.
Yes. So I mean, we're talking about camp stuff. Today he's out there and they're in an empty look, and Mahomes looks off and then comes back to him underneath for a slant for a touchdown. And another rep, he's out there just one-on-ones, just dusting a linebacker. So you're starting to see everything that I said in February for how he could be used and how this could be incredible. They're using him in those fashions. Now, I don't think it's a week 1 role. I mean, you do have to sort through the depth chart. Isaiah Pacheco is probably going to bounce back. And, by proxy of this mention of Brashard Smith, we're talking about Isaiah Pacheco being a tremendous value too. So I really, really like the way that it's kind of shaken out for those 2 young guys. And I think that those are targets for me to just have on my radar. If you're not going to pick them up, just any news about one of the starters missing time, and these guys are going to skyrocket.
Yeah. And we know how effective rookies can be to help you win your leagues, right? There was a lot of them last year that helped you out, and every year you just got to find the right ones. These guys are free. I got another rookie, Woody Marks, right? Just pass catching prowess for him coming in here. He's free. He's in the Texans offense. Mixon's missing time. Chubb's coming in, but he is going to operate as their satellite back. They've got an OC in there that spent a lot of time in New England and spent some time with McVay. Maybe the offensive line isn't great. Quick little check downs, quick pass catching ability to slow down some rush, get the ball out quick. Could give you some spot duty starts or really develop into something. And the other one is Miles Sanders here, just super late. This competition's wide open, right? There's, could be Javonte Williams, could be Miles Sanders. And then actually we had this guy on the list and he just kind of got lost in the thickest things. Jaden Blue as well, going in the 10th round, right? So if I can get Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders, and we talked about, I can get 2 parts of a cheap offense that could be really good. Dak and the boys, they got CD, they got George Pickens they've added, they re-signed Ferguson, and now, if this offensive line, once great, suffered some injuries, setbacks, retirements, but they've got a decent core kind of rebuilt in there. Rico Dowdle was great down the stretch for them once they started feeding him. Jaden Blue's super explosive, so he didn't quite make our list. He was on our original list there. We just kind of accidentally skipped over him if we're spilling the tea here. But Miles Sanders, brought it all back around full circle. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to be honest with you. I really think Miles Sanders, I've had the thought since I saw that they signed who they decided to sign. I've had the feeling that Miles Sanders is going to win the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's free right now. So that's all those last couple guys really free. Super interesting last round draft pick if you want. So, all right. If you want more, you can go over to the Patreon. I mean, that's mostly Dynasty focused right now, but we're revamping into some more redraft stuff. We're going to have rankings available soon for the redraft. We got Dynasty rankings, all kind of stuff for your pleasure, extra episodes, all that jazz. ADP, we're doing rookie mocks. We got rookie ADP. We got redraft ADP. We got Dynasty ADP, all for your pleasure. Chev, take us home.
Until next time, there's ball watchers and ball knowers. Assign yourselves accordingly. Have a good night.